Good kid. Good job. People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
Why did you start Wes Iseli's Magiclife?
I think that us traveling on the road and telling people about it, I don't think people understand what we do for a living. And I wanted to share that with people, like my mom and her parents and friends and family.
Yeah, what is it your family doesn't understand?
If someone sees me do close-up magic in a restaurant, that's what he does for a living. Someone sees me do an illusion show, that's what Wes does. I got it now. We do so much more than that. And that's what I think these videos are trying to, that's what I'm trying to show in these videos.
You do a culmination of many types of shows.
But if people see me at one location, they think they have you figured out.
Yes.
You don't think they get a picture of you're a magician and you perform?
I think a lot of people see the show, and for some reason they think the show is the full extent of what we do. That's it. There was no need for us to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and drive 3 hours to get there, or however long, and unload in the heat or the freezing cold and set everything up. We just somehow appear and do a magic show, and then we're home. But this shows all the work that goes into it, not only booking the shows, getting the customers, but getting there and setting up and taking down. And sometimes it's not just right inside the door. It's up steps, around here, down in the basement, in the back corner.
But what would you say, without giving away names, what would you say is one of the trickiest places you've had to find, like a basement or around a corner or whatever? You may not have, if you want to name it, that's fine, but if you don't want to name it for, venue purposes.
In general, I can
just talk about the actual event of having to get to this place, wherever it was.
Mm-hmm.
In general, it's country clubs.
Country clubs, because they don't want their members to see us lugging things in. So they give us the most roundabout way to get in, which are back hallways or, through the kitchen or something, instead of just through the hallway, which is the correct way to go. We have to wind around so that we're not seen by the club members.
But you're dragging heaps of equipment
and animals
through all these spaces.
Right, exactly.
And staff elevators and resorts
Right.
is another one. You're not allowed to be seen with the guests. You have to go through the delivery entrance and come in that way.
And then, when we do just private family parties in a home, sometimes they're like, we have this great space down in the basement. They don't have an elevator. It's a house, so you have to lug everything trip by trip.
Through the house or down a bulkhead?
Through their house, down the stairs, So those are interesting, and we're very thankful for our, setup time that we have, because those take every single minute of setup time. But then sometimes you arrive and it's really easy. It's right there, and you just right in, and you're waiting for everybody to show up 10 minutes later. Because
we did a birthday party a couple weeks ago, and they said, we have a great performance spot in the basement, which, okay, whatever. But they also didn't have parking for us. So we had to park down the road, and
around the corner.
And since we have to take it downstairs, we can't bring the dolly. So it's trip by trip, piece by piece. They also have kids running around the basement, so I need Natalie and Lana to babysit the equipment so they're not going through the stuff and tearing fur out of the bunny.
Yeah.
So it's
Support
all
Wes.
me lugging it down the block and around the corner, in the house, down the stairs, into the back of the room.
So by the time you actually get to the show, you're all sweaty?
Oh, just covered, head to toe.
Hence the black.
Yeah.
It disguises a lot. So.
You talked about Wes Iseli's Magic Life being something to show people what you actually do, like the ins and outs of the magic industry and how you work together as a family. Why should anybody care about that? Like, why should someone take the time to view Wes Iseli's Magic Life if you're loading, unloading, doing a show, loading, unloading, doing a show? What's the magic in it?
How we make it all work and the adventure on the road. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's very unusual what we do, and the places we visit, and
I mean, the places we get to see. It's not always just drive to the show and drive straight home. We'll stop, especially with a 5-year-old in the car, we'll stop and, go to a park. Or a few weeks ago, we went to Bass Pro Shops. Yes, but she loved it because there's an aquarium and there's a little place to play a game to shoot stuff. I mean, so, things like that. They're just fun to stop off at and experience different, stopping at the beach when you weren't planning to.
And it's the people we meet. When we were in Nashville, walking down the street, the guy was asking me, "Are you a vlogger?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm a magician, and I'm vlogging today, but yeah." "You're a magician? No way." So Natalie, I threw the camera at Natalie. I think I was vlogging at the time. I threw the camera to you, and before I got a deck of cards out of my pocket, I had 12 to 20 people surrounding me, ready to see magic.
Yeah. So you get to, a lot of people ask him about that, especially driving around in a van that says magician and illusionist. They're like, "You do magic?" So he'll show them a couple of tricks, and it's always neat to see their reactions and everything. Also, the people that you meet at the different venues, like when we went to the Apollo Theater, the guy who runs the whole thing.
Mike.
He was amazing. He gave us a tour of the whole place and was telling us about the history of it and the ghosts that haunt it and everything else. And that's always fun. And just coming up and going to a show there, we never would have heard all that history. But since we worked there and he was really nice and open to telling us all about it, we got a whole tour of the whole place, which is much more than just the theater. So.
And he was passionate about it.
Yes.
And as passionate as we are about magic, he was that passionate about that theater.
Mm-hmm.
So you really got caught up in it.
Yeah, and it was really neat. It was fun history.
Lana, I want to hear from you. What is it like to live a magic life?
Talk to Wendy.
Is the best life.
Oh, you love it? Why do you like it so much?
It's best to be on magic shows.
You like being in the magic shows?
Yeah.
You want to tell Wendy that?
So you say it's best to be in magic shows, and you've been performing magic tricks for a little while now.
Mm-hmm.
But your very first show, you were only 4 days old. Do you remember that show?
No.
Oh, you don't remember that show? What's one of the first shows you remember? What's one of the first things you remember about magic?
Back when you were a baby, can you remember back that far? What was the first thing you remember? Do you remember being on stage, learning to walk on stage?
You do?
You think you remember that? Talk to the camera.
I remember when I first being walked on when I was a baby.
Yeah.
Learning to walk on stage?
She learned a lot of things on stage. Did her first magic tricks. We was walking. We were still counting steps, and she was going across the stage. All sorts of things.
We're backstage at a magic show, and Lana's gonna practice magic. Go ahead, pull it out. Keep going. Woo! Yay!
What kind of things did you used to do when your mom and dad were on the stage? What did you do?
I just be under the table and to sit around.
That's right. What she's talking about is when she was a baby, still in her car seat, and we had to bring her in her car seat. We just put her underneath the table, do our magic show, and she'd be entertained there. If we didn't have a babysitter to come with us to our small shows that didn't have illusions, so she would sit in her car seat underneath the table.
I have a memory of her at 2 when I did the Dove production out of Play-Doh. That I would look back in the middle of the show and she'd have my Play-Doh stretched out and just playing with Play-Doh during the show.
Yep.
And now she's part of the Dove production.
Uh-huh.
What is it you do?
You take a balloon and you do what?
Look at me.
Pop the balloon and make a bird appear.
You pop a balloon and make a bird appear?
Go ahead. I go to that book.
Come on, guys.
Was that hard to learn?
No.
Not hard to learn?
You have
Oh,
to do it a few times though.
yeah, to get used to it. Wow.
Look that way though, okay?
Are there any other tricks that people can see you do on stage?
Well, at the end, I appear the bird into a bunny.
You turned the bird into a bunny? Wow.
Good job, kid.
I think you're a real magician, don't you? Wow,
But
that's pretty
not
awesome.
that's not the end. This summer, Lana did her debut of her own trick. Stage was all hers, and she had people from the audience, random strangers, tie her up with 10 foot of rope.
What was that like?
What Chris is going through, guys, is a little guilt here. He's tying up a little kid. But my kid has been practicing this like crazy. Chris, you have a whole bunch more rope there, man. Use it. The kid has been practicing. And kids, like I'm telling you, seriously, do not try this at home, okay? This is serious. I'm watching everything Chris is doing here. All right, yeah, and now put a big, good knot on top of all that, Chris. As tight as you can now, Chris. Really put muscle into it, buddy. You got it? Chris, awesome. Take 2 steps that way, Chris. Lana, don't start yet. Don't start yet. Okay? Are you ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, go! What she's doing, she's trying to get some tension, she's trying to get some slack. She's working on it, she's working on it. Everybody's watching. Now remember, guys, she's only 5 years old. This is her second time ever doing it on stage. If you need to, honey, you know how? Yeah? You don't need to, though, do you? You keep stepping back, stand forward so everybody can see you. Come on, guys, ready? Lana, Lana, Lana. Go, girl.
Oh,
She's got 1 loop. She's got some slack now. She's working on it. And Chris and I did not set this up ahead of time. You really tied her up the best you could, Chris? Yeah. Chris, come back at the 4 o'clock show. Try again, pal, because she's getting out of this thing, man. Use your teeth if you need to, Lana. Use your teeth if you need to. You don't need to. Okay, okay. You're milking it, baby. It's only a 45-minute show. You're milking it. Come on. Face the audience. Go. I want to help her so much, guys. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, she's so close. She's so close. Oh, ready? One more time. Lana, Lana, Lana. Lana, guys! Woo! Give Chris a high five. Tell him better luck next time. Chris, everybody, give him a round of applause. Good job, girl. You did it. I'm so proud of you. Good job, good job. All right, go have a seat. I got work to do. Perfect, perfect.
They tie your wrists and then you have to think about, how am I going to get out of this?
Well, yeah.
And so then you just get out? Like, how long does it take you?
Like 10 minutes or 40.
No,
Like-
it takes her, I think the longest was maybe 3.5 minutes or something like that. That was the longest, and we're still not sure if she was just milking it. So,
Listen, what did the audience say when you were trying to get out? The whole audience was chanting what?
Lana, Lana, Lana.
You loved that part, didn't you?
I still have it in my head.
She said, I still have it in my head. I can't get it out of my head. I loved it.
Oh, right.
Good job.
Lana, you travel in the car a lot with your mom and dad. What kinds of things keep you busy?
In the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like do movies.
talk to Wendy.
I look at movies and do my iPad and my phone.
She has games on her Leapfrog,
Mhm.
which she calls her iPad, and she has
It's
music downloaded
really
on
iPad.
one of our old iPhones, so she can listen to that. And she watches. We have TV, so she watches movies. So
We talked about doing your rope trick and we talked about doing your dove trick. What your mom said when you have extra time that you can go to parks and do special things. What are some special things that you've gotten to do that you really love?
riding the elephant.
Riding an elephant?
With
Really?
my mommy.
You went on with your mom?
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you really liked being with your mom too. And what other things did you get to do? There's one episode where you go picking pumpkins. I remember that.
And picking apples.
Yep.
Keep mommy in there.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Lana.
You picked the apple?
I don't know. I'll either pick an apple or
Ready?
die.
Sit down.
You want me to go?
Okay.
No?
I'll just get you on one shoulder. 1, 2, 3.
I don't know. No.
Well, go around.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
You can
Please
do
don't let me
it.
fall. You got it. You got it. Get the apple.
It's my hair.
Here. Here. Bring this apple bag over there for them. Pick up that apple bag on the ground. Whoop.
You hear me? Pay attention.
Here you go. Over here with the apple bag. Oh, don't move. Oh, Wes, my fingers and branches. Back up. You don't like chewing leaves? Is that what you're saying? Here.
No, you're so high.
8,000.
All right, watch my hair.
I'm-
Back up. Back up. Holy crap.
That's
so fun.
And I didn't.
I don't think.
So being on the road all the time, Lana gets the opportunity to be primarily with the both of you. How do you make sure that she does get that socialization and she's with friends?
Summer is crazy for us. 4 hours sleep a night. We miss family get-togethers. We miss family reunions. It's just show. Come January, February, March, April, May, June.
No, June's busy. May's busy.
Okay. January, February, March, April. We have a sense of
Sunday?
normalcy, so she can do more hanging out with church friends and hanging out with neighbor kids. And
Church
Yes, we go to church, and so she has Sunday school
on
friends.
Sunday.
Yes, on Sunday. We also do a homeschool group that's during the school year, September through May. We go to as many of those as possible. They usually have 2 to 3 a month. So there's a lot of kids that come there, and we try and make as many as we can. We can't make all of them because of shows, but she has a lot of friends there. She makes friends at every single show, it seems like, that we go to. She can make friends really easy, which is awesome. I think that's a great skill to have. She's not shy, so, I mean, not with other kids. She might be one-on-one with adults. She's a little shy, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
But with kids, she'll just walk up, plop herself down to one and say, hey, look at what I have. And then they're friends for the duration of the show.
And she's instantly cool because she's the magician's kid.
Yeah, she's
I've
got
noticed
going for
that.
her.
I've noticed that. People say, are you in this show? Yes. Do you want to play paper, rock, scissors? And then it's boom, instant friendship.
So, Natalie, you're mostly videotaping, and
Yes.
I don't know what it must be like, but I often take pictures with my cell phone camera of the kids growing up and stuff. And so once in a while, somebody will say, "Put that camera down. You're not enjoying anything." How do you balance that, or do you get a sense of that?
That's not how it is in our family, is it, honey? It's Wes going, here, Natalie, videotape this. Natalie, videotape this.
That way we can enjoy it.
He's, for some reason, he's not comfortable videoing. He wants me to do it. So I end up doing the majority of the videoing. So Wes is like, you're in the videos a lot. I'm like, honey, I'm in some videos, but mostly you hear my voice because I'm behind the camera. So I don't get as much FaceTime on the video.
Wait a
but-
minute. Wes, do you get a little jealous of her FaceTime? Do you think she shouldn't be
I
in
don't
it as
have
much
that
as
much.
you, or?
I think that's what she's getting at. But
No, not but.
the
Wait,
name of the
no,
show
no,
is
no.
Wes Iseley's Magiclife. And
we can change that. We can change it to the Isleys family life. It doesn't have to
that
be
doesn't have a
Wes
ring to it at
Isley.
all.
Oh, yes, it does. What? Natalie and Lana's Magic Life.
Well, you can start
You
your
know,
own channel.
You know,
And not
Try to get
you.
somebody to record
the
for you.
people,
Good luck.
the
Just
people,
him out.
the important people behind the magic show who actually do all the setting up.
You have to keep that in. You have. Do not any of
Cut.
that out. No. How do you make sure that Lana and you are getting like proper nutrition when you have to eat on the road so much?
I I try and pack lunches as much as possible. So if we're leaving early in the morning, we have breakfast. We pack that, just bring it with us. And I pack lunches, and it'll be a sandwich, fruit, and then some sort of like goldfish or something treat, which she likes the best, but she can't have until she has her sandwich and her fruit. So we try and do that as much as possible, but you can only pack so much in a day. So if we're gone for over 12 hours, we're gonna have to stop for dinner, and it's something you just have to learn to live with. We'll try and get her to try different foods instead of only chicken nuggets or chicken strips. We'll try and get her to venture out to a hamburger, or get her a side of fruit instead of French fries every once in a while. But I really don't see, if it's just once a week or something like that, I don't see the problem of giving her chicken nuggets and fries if she wants that. But balance is a big part of it. So, and as she puts it, she likes to work out with mommy, right?
Well,
So
you
she
work
has-
out me TV, but sometimes I do the workout Wii.
Yes, she likes to play on the Wii, the workout.
Even
Wii
Daddy
Fit.
has Wii, and Mommy has Wii too.
Yes, we each have people. And so she'll do some of those, or if I'm doing a workout DVD, she has little 1 pound weights and she'll kind of work out beside me. But I think it's not about working out for 5-year-olds. It's about getting the mindset in there early that, I want her to know that she can eat what she wants in moderation, but she should also work out, have some physical activity. in
Well, and you and Wes you can answer this, really do have to stay in shape because your lifestyle depends on it. Because your livelihood depends on it.
I don't have a choice. I have a couple magic tricks that if I gain too much weight, which I'm at the tip top right now because I've been eating junk food just to stay awake driving on the road, so it's keeping me awake, and that's a bad habit I've gotten into. But it's hard to have time to work out when you're only getting 4 hours of sleep at night. But I have a couple tricks that I barely fit into. If I gain any more weight, it's like having a car I can't drive.
I've been working my butt off this summer trying to work out and get in shape better, and I don't feel like it's done a darn thing, but I have been trying my darndest.
So I'm editing my videos and she's on the treadmill while Lana's asleep.
Yeah, at like 1 a.m.
Maybe that's the key. Maybe some kind of like normal routine would help your metabolism.
Yeah, but she's
we
trying to get it in.
We
don't
right.
have time.
We don't have time to sleep when you're gone from 6 in the morning until 7 at night, and then you gotta get Lana fed and bathed into bed, and you have to pack lunches for the next day, and you have to you get everything ready, and then it's about midnight, 12:30, 1 o'clock, and I'm just starting my workout, and then you gotta repeat.
No, I was just asking if you miss any shows because we went through talking about how you get up in the morning and how you're trying to eat on the road and how you're exercising in the middle of the night. Do you miss any shows because you're tired?
You just smile and just keep going. Yeah, and well, here's the thing. Before I
Fake it
met
till you make it, baby.
before I met Natalie, I was 25 years old. My dad died on a Friday night. I had 3 birthday parties the next day on a Saturday morning, on a Saturday, and it was brutal for me. And you're seeing, I don't know, it's one of those things where you're seeing Dad wishing the kid happy birthday, and I'm just going through the motions and just doing my thing. And
Is it
I
gutting?
I felt like everything was just poking me. Look at that dad. I don't have a dad. Look, that dad's even here. I don't even have that. But I had to do the show. I had contracts for him. Yeah, it was a kid's birthday party. Yeah, other magicians might say, hey, I had a death in the family, I can't do it. But I just learned early on, the show must go on.
And it does. Natalie, you had an experience more recently that we saw on one of the episodes of Wes Iseli's Magiclife, wherein your grandmother passed away. You couldn't go to her funeral.
Right. Yep. It was just, we had a contract, and so I couldn't miss it.
It's not like someone can let's talk about how it's not like someone can just show up and help Wes unload and get the tricks
Right.
ready and everything. Talk about that a little bit.
Right. I know the routine. I know how it works. I know where things are supposed to go, how to set things up. And so we couldn't get anybody to cover for me. I mean, it wouldn't work. So I had to do the show. So we didn't end up being able to go, which broke my heart. And so I got a little teary-eyed a few times during the day. But, I mean, again, that's just life. That's how it is. Sometimes that's the not so fun side of things. So.
We'll make it
All
work.
right, so we were talking about how you're in restaurants a lot, but you're not only there to eat, sometimes you're in the restaurant to teach and for Lana to understand what she's learning for her kindergarten class.
Mm-hmm. We did, yeah. That's one of the main reasons we did homeschooling was because we can take her with us everywhere. We'll be able to see her instead of having to drop her off uber early at daycare and pick her up way late. She can come everywhere with us, and we can take the homeschool with us as well. So we've done homeschool at parks and restaurants and hotels and the car.
Even for old people.
At nursing homes?
Yeah.
We did do you had a homeschool lesson in a nursing home. After the show, we didn't have anything else. We had a long drive, and we just sat there and did it in a nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
So, aside from the obvious, you named this Wes Iseli's Magiclife. You're a magician, magic would only make sense. But aside from that obviousness, what is a Magiclife, and why did you name it Magiclife?
Well, I'm a magician, living my life on the road, but aside from that, I'm turning 40 this year. If I look back on it, I achieved everything I wanted to achieve. I performed in big theaters, I've performed in amazing venues, I've worked in television, I have an amazing family, and I got to do what I wanted to do when I was a little boy. I wanted to do magic and entertain people, and I did it.
This is episode 100 of Wes Iseli's Magiclife, but it's taken 2 years, nearly 2 years to get to this place. When you first started this project, did you ever think that you'd still be in it 2 years later?
I don't think
I thought about it. I don't know.
we just filmed 1 week at a time. Yeah, we
Yeah.
had no idea.
And honestly, the first few episodes, we didn't know what we were doing. So Wes tried to do a couple of episodes a week, and then that got crazy. He was like, I'm going to put them out on Wednesdays and Sundays.
I don't remember that.
I do. And they were like 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
They're very short. And then after a while, he decided just once a week.
That's enough.
But they got
once
longer.
2 weeks.
Just once a week.
They got longer when they went to once a week. So
How do you keep it together? How do you continue to have a loving relationship? Are there times you fall into being just roommates and coworkers, or are there times, or can you keep a spark? Or
I think
She gets to look at this.
of
That keeps the spark alive.
course. I think sometimes when we get extremely busy and it just feels like a grind of shows, you can end up doing that. And I think one or both of us will realize it, and we'll try and fix that, and we'll do something together. We'll take a little bit and just hang out together instead of take a night off from making the grab bags, and when she's in bed we'll just hang out together, because during the summer that's pretty much all the time we have to do. We'll veg in front of the TV, but when you're cuddled up next to each other, it's more of a connection than when you're in 2 separate rooms doing something. So yeah.
And how do you keep your conversations when you're cuddled up together? How do you keep your conversations from being like, oh, tomorrow we have to this, and remember that, and da 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 da? How do you keep from doing that?
That's easy because I go 1 day at a time. When you have, I think the height of our career ever was like 28 shows in 1 week, and that was last summer, I think, just because of county fairs. I start thinking that, and it just hurts my head, and I get tired thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I told her, just tell me 1 show at a time or a day at a time. So just like Lana will wake her up in the morning, she's waking up, how many shows, Dad? And I'll say 1, 2, 4, just to get her head wrapped around it.
Or 5.
So he usually only knows a couple days out.
Or 10.
I usually only look maybe a week out.
So is it basically you that, like, when you do have cuddle time, or you're just like chilling out together, is it usually you who just like tries to focus on the not work stuff so that you can not have to?
I think well, I mean, when you're trying to have one-on-one time, you don't want to talk business, but sometimes it happens. It just is. I mean, that's our life. We're married, we're running a business together, we're doing the shows together. Sometimes that happens. But once you have it out of the way and it's done, then it can turn back to just,
You time.
yeah,
Say me time.
But
Us time.
also,
us time. Turn back to us time.
we also have non-business talks in the middle of our show.
Oh, that's very true.
I mean, that's something that you probably don't think about.
Like bickering at stuff, or
No,
No,
you
we
know,
don't really fight.
yeah, we'll have disagreements,
jokes.
but you know, they usually wrap up fairly quickly.
I'll have one. I have one.
Okay.
We were at Massanutten the other day, and I'm loading her in a box in a load chamber. We're
Mm-hmm.
gonna produce her later on, and I'm shutting the lid, and I'm like, "That's right, we need sodas in the grocery list." I just remembered.
Yep. Well, we'll have those times. You know, right before the show, before you could open the curtain, we'll be talking about not the show, or when I'm sitting in the box and he's just looking at me right before the show. Sometimes we'll have short little snippets we say back and forth to each other when the music's up loud and the microphones are off. So it's conversation can happen at any time.
about anything.
About anything.
You never know what. Yeah.
Like having a new baby.
Yes. Like having a new baby.
Leave it there. Don't. Just leave it right there. Let that be the end. Let that be the end. I'm not
I think
kidding.
you filmed
That's
enough
the
today.
end. That's the end of that episode.